Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, John Cena back in the news again over the same situation. Now, if you don't know this deal, I'll fill you in real quick. Apparently, Mr. Cena bought himself a brand new Ford GT. Yes, he was one of the lucky brand new owners. But in the fine print of that particular documents that he signed in purchasing his brand new machine, apparently Ford Motor Company's got a clause in there where you can't sell the vehicle for 24 months, aka 2 years. Well, Mr. Cena didn't even keep the car for 30 days before he sold it to another dealership, who promptly actually sold the automobile to its current owner. Well, apparently now Mr. Cena and his group has settled out of court with the Ford Motor Company, paying back a fairly big sum of money to the Ford Motor Company. Now, don't fret about the Ford Motor Company coming up with this cash. They're going to donate every cent of it to charity, so it's not like they're going to be fattening their wallets. The trick is, too, is apparently there's some more lawsuits going down the pipe. We've already talked about the dealership that actually sold the automobile, which is still an interesting story because the car is kind of gone. I mean, basically, the dealership that sold the automobile will not say who the new owner is, and they really don't have any reason to actually tell anybody anyway. And this car is yet to be re-registered by anybody, so I'm assuming the situation is this: that brand new owner still has the automobile, still in John Cena's name, and I bet that they're going to keep this thing for the allotted 2 years' time, and then this is going to end up at one of the big auctions somewhere across the globe to try to sell for a big money with the story to come in behind it. So this is going to be an interesting situation moving forward, but there is still a couple of lawsuits to actually talk about in this deal. One of them is the actual dealership itself that the Ford Motor Company is been suing over the past several months, so that deal still isn't done. And two, if you've watched it even here on my YouTube channel, but also on my Motor Cars Enthusiasts Facebook page, I put out the video of a Ford GT going across the block at the Mecum auction in Indianapolis, Indiana, that I visited just about a month ago. Apparently that whole situation, even though Dane and Mecum got up in front of the crowd and this vehicle was actually talked about as they went through the actual proper channels to make sure that they could actually sell this automobile, Mr. Mecum himself actually saying that if Ford Motor Company wants this car back, they can buy it back is what they can do. So it's an interesting situation moving forward on this deal, because apparently now the Ford Motor Company is suing Mecum Auctions over selling that particular machine. So there's going to be a whole lot more stuff come out about this over the next several months, and I'll definitely keep you in tune. Next up on the list, an interesting story involved the Formula One team known as Red Bull Racing, as they made a major announcement as they're changing power units for the 2019 season, and it was kind of a shocker. They're switching to Honda. Now, if you're a big Formula One fan, much like I am, the debacle that was Honda McLaren over the past couple of years. That being said, the junior Red Bull team, Toro Rosso, has been running Hondas this year, and the car's been running pretty dang good. In fact, better than McLaren's been doing with their brand new Renault power plants. And apparently, maybe the Red Bull folks are either getting a big influx of cash from Honda, or maybe just seeing that this engine's starting to come around. They are going to jump on board. So both Red Bull Racing and Toro Rosso Racing will be racing Hondas in 2019. It's going to be very interesting coming up in Melbourne, Australia in the first part of next year. See just what exactly happens with this new pairing. Next up on the list, Audi showing off the brand new A1 over the past several days. And I have to say, the thing looks really good. The vehicle is completely new inside and out, including the vehicle being a lot longer and a little bit wider as well. And plus, Audi's done a lot of the good stuff in the parts where it really counts. Now, we're only going to show you the A1 version because the hot rod versions haven't come out, at least as of yet. So the initial branding of these vehicles being the A1, and there's going to be several different sub-brands. Power is going to be either coming from a turbocharged 1 liter, a turbocharged 1.5 liter, or a turbocharged 2 liter engine. That particular power plant making 197 horsepower. All of these units shifted through a 6-speed S-tronic gearbox. 18-inch wheels. They've upgraded the suspension, bigger braking all the way around. The interior gets a brand new bunch of goodies, including some very cool tech with basically LED screens all over the place, including the infotainment touch screens that can be either gotten an 8.8-inch touchscreen or the massive 10.1-inch touchscreen in the vehicle as well. Now the trick is they haven't talked about pricing or availability, at least as of yet, and obviously we're waiting around for that S version, the possibility of an RS version coming down the pike as well, so we'll definitely keep you in tune of what we hear. Next up on the list, some fantastic news, at least as far as I'm concerned. Mads Ostburg, who is basically, to me, the biggest free agent when it comes to World Rally Championship. In fact, if I were going to start a new World Rally team, this would be the guy I would hire right off the bat. But apparently, that is not going to be an easy situation, at least for the rest of the season, because young Mads Ostburg is now officially a Citroen driver, taking over the seat from the just ousted Chris Meek. He actually did good enough in the last rally in Sardinia that he's going to be taking over the seat for the rest of the year. Now, there are reports that last round, the Sebastian Loeb is going to be coming back, the world champion, will probably mean that Mads Ostburg is going to step aside. It was going to be Craig Breen, but Craig Breen now becoming the #1 driver. It's going to be interesting heading into the 2019 season, because I don't see maybe the possibility that Craig Breen or Mads Ostburg will not remain at Citroen. I can predict that one or both of them will be heading to the M Sport or to Ford, because I think that Sebastian Ogier, this will be the last season with him in M Sport. He really wants to go back to a factory team, and the Ford Motor Company isn't throwing full factory cash at M Sport, at least as of yet. So this is going to be a situation where I think Ogier will leave, possibly for Citroen, but I think you probably see Mads Ostburg probably heading to Ford maybe next year. We'll have to wait and see on that front. More good news. Fifth Gear is coming back. Yes, I couldn't be more excited to hear this particular information. Now, this is going to show up on the channel Quest in the UK, which is actually a Discovery Channel-owned channel, which means that the possibility of Fifth Gear being shown in the United States on Discovery, maybe Velocity, the channel that's soon going to become Motor Trend Network in the next several months, could be an opportunity for this show to find another home as well. It hasn't been released that it's actually going to come out in the United States. It's only for UK owners, at least, as far as the early shows are going to be concerned. And if you're a big fan of Fifth Gear, yes, the cast of characters is all back. Tiff Needell, Jason Plato, Johnny Smith, and also Vicky Butler-Henderson is going to be back in action. I cannot wait for this show to actually fire back off again. Hopefully there'll be some way you can either stream it, or hopefully Discovery Channel or Velocity/Motor Trend Network will actually show this particular film. So I cannot wait for Fifth Gear. Mr. Tiff Needell actually made the announcement on his Twitter account. They've already started some filming. Johnny Smith and Vicky Butler-Henderson have also claimed that they are involved in this show and will be on in the next several months on the channel Quest. So we'll definitely keep you in tune if we hear any more about this coming stateside. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. The first dibs on the brand new show as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.